Good morning. Here is Mangesh Naneshwar Borkar, Director to Sambodhi IAS Academy, Mumbai-THANE. Today, 22nd May 2022, and on this platform of Sambodhi IAS Academy, all of we welcome Honorable Anil Ramteke sir, who is currently working as Chief Material Manager of Western Railway, Mumbai. And there are so many, like if you see his positions at different places all over India. So he was the chairman of Railway Recruitment Board, Bilaspur. Then he was recently, till recent period, he was associated with JNPT as a Chief Vigilance Officer. And then there are so many positions which were honored by Honorable Anil Ramteke sir. So this is his second lecture on the platform of Sambodhi Career Academy. A very down-to-earth officer. Like there are many officers, but most of the time, what happen? Many of the people, they are not open up with the society, and they do not share their shoulder their responsibility of payback to society. But what I have seen with respect to Anil Ramteke sir, that he is very much he is having concern with society, and he is a committed officer towards social transformation movement, socio-economic education transformation movement. And whenever I ask him, so without without delaying and without taking any much pause, he say yes. So yesterday only I asked him, and he answered immediately, okay, I am there to guide students. Okay, so like the mission of Sambodhi IAS Academy is also to produce the officers with same zeal, same spirit, same constitutional spirit, and ethical spirit. Okay, so now without wasting time, I once again I welcome Honorable Anil Ramteke sir on the behalf of Sambodhi IAS Academy. And the today's topic of discussion is good governance and accountability of bureaucracy, means bureaucrats. Okay, so you people are emerging bureaucrats. Okay, and there are so many bureaucrats, thousands of bureaucrats in our country. So and there is a very nice concept, like specifically if you see the concept of Indian Constitution, which is enshrined in our preamble itself, that is to create a welfare state. And for the creation of welfare state, we all are responsible, but the most important responsibility is shouldered on our executive. And executive, you will become a part and parcel of executive. And there are thousands of officers who have been already working in the bureaucracy. So with respect to creation of welfare state, it is very important that good governance concept is important. Okay, nowadays we can see so many challenges in front of government, in front of bureaucracy. So in such a situation, how to work for the concept of welfare state, how to create, how to try to establish good governance is in our country. That is the most important challenge in front of bureaucracy, in front of Shashan Prashashan, we can say. So with respect to that topic, sir will share his own experiences, and he will enlighten you with respect to the philosophical, ideological angles of good governance, and whatever he has experienced in his almost 30+ years of career as a bureaucrat. So he will talk with you. So now, sir, thank you very much for accepting my request, and thanks a lot once again. So over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And this is a crowd, sir, where students across Maharashtra, they have joined. At the same time, there are students, those who are just in their schools, means there are 10 to 12 students,
Right.
those who are in 8th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard, 11th standard. Okay, there is one student, she is from Hyderabad also, she joined from Hyderabad. There are students from Gadchiroli, Nagpur, Wardha, Yavatmal, and Pune, Mumbai, Thane. So from across Maharashtra, students have joined. And all these students are basically associated with Sambodhi Career Academy. Those
Okay.
who are striving to secure their career as
Right.
the future bureaucrats.
Right.
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So you are able to see my face now today.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
So that time I had made video off, I think. Possibly I forgot to start my video. Acha, this I want to screen sharing permission because
Yeah,
now
yeah, yeah. Just a minute.
I have a very poor memory, so everything I write down in present.
Yes, sir. Share screen. Yeah, share screen is started now.
You are able to see my screen or what? What is
Yes,
the,
sir. Yes.
but are you seeing able to see two screen or only one screen?
One, yeah, both the this thing.
Presenter view is also seen.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then I check that.
Here,
Okay,
American
now,
sociologist.
now
Yes, sir. Yes.
is it only one screen now?
Ha, sir.
That again see. Okay, now it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Mangeji, for this beautiful introduction. And
My pleasure, sir.
of course, I'm not prepared for this kind of deliberation with this interaction with these students. But anyway, I thought of talking something with the student because every time you tell me to talk to student, I cannot. I have no energy to say no. I have always to say yes because it's actually something which I love to do. So anyway, so whenever I start talking to students or interacting with students, I always start with some quotes of good people, and that makes me also read, go through that, and then become wiser. So there is one quote. Today's topic is good governance and accountability of the bureaucracy. So one quote is there by Marcel, which is American socialist, academic, and author. He became an eminent professor at the University of Pennsylvania. So he said the downfall of every civilization comes not from the moral corruption of the common man, but rather from the moral complacency of a common man in high places. So we as a bureaucrat kept at a high place in this society, and we are the persons who are responsible for downfall of every civilization. That is what he wanted to say, and to that extent I also agree with that. So that's a beautiful quote by him. And the another quote by John Stuart Mill, and who is also American naturalist and essayist, poet, and philosopher. And a lot of quotes are there, beautiful. Like if we have time, we should read his quotes. It's beautiful. Actually, I don't know how they have this kind of thoughts in their mind. A person may cause evil to others not only by his actions, but by his inaction. And in either case, he is justly accountable to them for the injury. What it says that if you take action, or if you do not take action, by both ways you cause, you may cause injury to a person by your action. But in bureaucracy, actually, most of the time we cause injury by inaction, by not taking action. And he's saying we are accountable for both, for taking action as well as not taking action. So if you are not taking action, having no goals to take any action, then you are causing bigger injury, in fact. But if you are taking action also, you are causing injury unless your actions are right. So that is what is its meaning is. So with these two quotes, another two quotes will go, and then we'll start with the topics what I'm going to cover. This is one quote by this Desmond Tutu. He was a South African Anglican bishop actually and theologian. He said that frequently people think compassion and love are merely sentiment. No, they are very demanding. If you are going to be compassionate, be prepared for action. What is the meaning of this? This say that I always feel that unless we are compassionate, we cannot be a right bureaucrat. That is my personal vision that unless you are compassionate, you cannot be a better bureaucrat. And then for his statement is very, very useful. He said that people think compassion and love are merely sentimental. It has no decision-making value, right? But he says that if you are going to be compassionate, be prepared for action. If you are compassionate, you have to act. If you don't act, you cannot be considered as compassionate. So some decisions may be tough, you have to take, even though you are compassionate. That is the decision you will take only because you are compassionate. So that is a beautiful quote. Another one quote by this scientist, you of course know Blaise Pascal. No? So the Pascal law, aapko pata hoga. You must be knowing Pascal law, pressure. So if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of oppressor. जब किसी के साथ injustice होता है, and if you are neutral, then you are choosing a side of oppressor. You are as good as an oppressor. If an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse and you say that you are a neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality. So this is a fundamentally very, very beautiful quote by Pascal. And with these few quotes in mind, what I'm going to talk, maybe summarizing all this thing. So I have prepared certain presentation for today's talk. Maybe may not be, there will be two kind of content. One will be academic kind of content, what is good governance and all. I will also share some of the characteristics of good governance and then my experiences in one of the, because I have so many assignments I have done. So maybe we have limited time, so we'll share some of the experience of one of the assignments when I took and how I applied this principle and how I get benefited out of it and how happy I was after taking that decision. So, so that is the purpose of, and how I created a, like Mangeshji told that we have to create a welfare society. You know? So how that welfare state is created by that kind of characteristics of good governance if we implement in our process. Right? So today's agenda will be something like this. We will talk about what is good governance, etc. We'll define what is the terminology. The second is we'll talk about principle of effective decision making, because that you will come to know as to why I am taking this topic. That is basic definition of decision making process. Fourth is type of decision making. Fifth is steps of decision making. These 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all something to do with decision making, because good governance is decision making. That is what I feel. Unless you take a decision, like earlier also I quotes, you say that if you don't take action, you don't take decision, that is also not correct. So decision making is a fundamental characteristics of any good governance. You have to take decision, right or wrong. You have to take decision. 6 is characteristics of good governance. That is characteristics of good governance. And then is ethical decisions, because we want to come out with the leaders or bureaucrats who are ethical decision makers. So I will share, if time permits, I'll share this also. And then how to resolve these dilemmas of decisions. Now this topic I'll cover whatever time permits. I think we started at 9:15 or so, and then we'll try to finish 10:30. So let us try to cover. So let us start with this story. This story you might have heard or read somewhere, but because I am from railways, so possibly I picked up this story for you. So there were 2 tracks on which the boys were playing. One track which was being used, like that was in use. There were a lot of boys which were playing on that track, and another track was there which was unused. So there were 2 tracks. One track of railway track which is used by the trains now, it was in use. On that track, number of boys were, there were a lot of boys which were playing on that track. Another track was there where only which was not in use by railways because they were abandoned track and where only one boy was playing. And then the train was coming from the other side, and there was one lever which you are standing near that. So you had an opportunity to switch that lever and move the train on any one of those tracks. It will go on one track which is being used. That is track number 1, where a lot of boys were playing. But you have opportunity to shift to the another track, which is unused track, where one boy was only playing. And in both cases, you had no opportunity to stop the train, but you can only divert the train. And in such a situation, what decision you would have taken? I would like to share, sir, is possible some responses from some students. So in this, anyone can comment whether what would you do to that lever? Whether you will change that lever to the another track where only one boy was playing, or you will continue the train to on the track on which number of boys were playing. And in both cases, you cannot stop the train. So is it possible for some participant to talk, sir, now?
Yes. Participants can share their opinion. Condition is given with respect to 2 tracks. One track with only one boy, another track with many boys. And you need to shift that train to one track only. You cannot stop the train. Yeah, future IAS officers, you can share your opinion.
Sir,
This is the situation. Yeah.
so I would go for the one boy wherein I can just play a horn there, or where else he can get scared and he will run from there. I believe that.
Okay, good. Any other opinion? Any other person can share? So if I tell like this, that there is nothing, no wrong or right decision in this case. Just you have to think and do that, because there are certain decisions. So somebody else also can speak.
Yeah, please participate in discussion.
Okay, one more talk and then I'll proceed, because if one more I would like to in a chart. By blowing horn, we can aware both parties and choose to stay with less people. So let us presume that they are not in a position to listen to the horn. So this is because that is very difficult for them. They are so much engrossed in playing. So they would not be in a position to move from there. It is bound to that they will get killed. So then in this situation, let us try to.
Sir, then I would ask the train to shift the track.
Shift the track to 1 or 2. Matlab many boys or one boy. Track number 1 is many boys. Track number 2 is one boy.
Sir, then
So
one
the
boy.
respective RPF,
Ji?
the railway police force should take take initiative and remove these boys from the.
So there is no time. No train is coming. Now you are sitting at that lever. You have only option to that. That is the only option left to you. There is no time. Train is coming with speed. And if train has a signal, train never stops. It's very difficult for them to stop. If they stop at a short distance, then they will derail. So they don't stop.
Sir, I would like to speak.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Last.
Sir, there is no such thing as a right decision and wrong decision. We have to
Okay.
justify why we have taken this decision.
So what decision you will take and what is your reason in this case?
Sir, in this case, I will shift the train on the track where only one boy is playing, because the impact of casualty is less compared to other track where 10 boys are playing.
Okay, what's your good name, please?
Sarvesh.
Pravesh, good. Very nice. Thank you for participation. All those who have participated in this discussion, because there is only one discussion here. I would have been present in physical this thing. We would have a lot of discussions on this, but because we are not there तो हम लोग इसको यही समाप्त करते हैं डिस्कशन को. बट most of the people felt in this case, whosoever had talked, and there may be some students who have not spoken, but they have different opinion. But people have spoken in this case that I will shift the gear to one person to the track, which is where only one boy was playing, because the impact of that is the result would have been lesser harm, right? So that kind of decision. But if you see in this case, there is no mistake of a boy who was playing on the track which was unused. He know that never train comes there. He was very sure because he was playing very wisely on a track which was unused. He knows that train will never come there. Train will come here only where the boys are playing, right? Normally train come there. Secondly, if there is nothing right or wrong, I'm doing possibilities when we think about it. See, if we think about it, you will get a lot more solutions. So second reason is that because the track was unused, if you try to take a train on that unused track, train might get derailed and the complete train passengers may get affected. So while it's telling this story, I want to tell you one message which will be used for our good governance. And the message is this. While we are aware that life is full of tough decisions that need to be made, we may not realize that hasty decisions may not always be the right one. Remember that what is right isn't always popular and what is popular isn't always right. एक good governance में especially bureaucrats को ये दोनों चीजों को बहुत ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि जो लाइफ में टफ डिसीजन बहुत आएंगे, बट अगर हम जल्दबाजी में कोई डिसीजन करते हैं तो उसका राइट होना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. You have to think pros and cons. Secondly, जिस चीज को हम प्राइमा फेसी impulse से right समझते हैं and which is popular, that popular decision isn't always right. So try to think about these decisions whenever you try to take a decision. So this is a very important aspect while taking a tough decisions. So this is just I wanted to share one story to talk about decisions because that is what is very important for good governance. Now, good governance को समझने के लिए दो तीन मैंने definitions. There are so many definitions to good governance you can see, and this is one of the paper I have taken. Governance refers to the handling of rules and norms that guide each state or area in political process. As such, governance is connected to rules in use, that is formal or informal rules that may apply how the issue emerge in public and are handled by political system. More specifically, governance is defined as the formation and stewardship of the rules that regulate the public realm, the space where the state as well as economic and social actors interact to make decisions. Right? This is one definition by World Governance Survey, United Nations University. Another definition is governance refers to process whereby elements in society build power and authority and influence enact policies and decisions concerning public life and economic and social development. Third is governance is the process whereby societies or organizations make important decisions, determine whom they involve and how they render account. So in this definition, there may be many other definitions, but basic words which figure in governance is, if you see this process, rules and norms, decision making, public, social and economic development, and power and authority. These are the words we see in the definitions, and these are very important words. So why good governance is a process? This it is a process. It has to undergo some rules and norms. It is a decision-making process. It involves public, and it's towards social and economic development. And it is because the bureaucrats has got power and authority. So while exercising this power and authority, you have two things to be kept in mind. One is ability and capacity to effectively utilize its mandate. Two things are there. One is the power and authority you possess, and then ability and capacity to effectively fulfill its mandate. मतलब जिस चीज के लिए power and authority दिया हुआ है हम लोगों को, उसको effectively use करना है. These are the two things of governance. Use power and authority effectively, and that effectiveness comes by wise decisions. Right? Okay. We'll see further. In governance, two things come into picture. One is governance and development. Means when you govern, there has to be some development. It is related. When you good governance result into development, and good governance also is considered as a good governance only when it is a democratic kind of process, right? But in this governance, three things, there are many stakeholders which will come into picture. And this is something academic I'm talking, but you will come to know slowly. So one is institutions. Institutions means government institutions, like there may be a lot of organizations, these executives are there, then judges are there. There are so many institutions of government. That is one part of governance. Second is delivery mechanism. How are you going to deliver what is expected out of you? That is the second aspect to the governance. And the third is supportive framework. For doing this, for taking action, there are certain framework of rules and regulations. So these are three things which comes into picture while taking decisions by the bureaucrats. So how to measure good governance? Because once you say good, it has to be measured. Because how you will say good or bad unless you measure how. So how you will measure good? So it has certain characteristics. Governance should be characterized by core principles. It has to have some principles on which it will work. Then only you can compare or measure, right? Then, as I already said, governance involves many different stakeholders. So you have to look into all these aspects. State means the government. The market means market player, which includes the private sectors, people around in the business, NGOs, etc. And then the civil societies work towards the development of societies. Then governance is about processes rather than outcomes. And see, we definitely will have outcome which you want, but if the processes are not okay, then it will be very subjective. One person will come, will do something good and go. But another person come, if processes are not okay, he may do bad. So processes are important in governance, not the outcome only. Outcome will automatically come when processes are the way you want the outcomes to be. Then third is governance measurement must be relevant to the realities at subnational levels. Now, what does that mean? Government measurement, whatever you measure, it must be relevant to the actual down below outcome jo humko milna chahiye at the very subnational level, village level, everywhere. That outcome should come. That has to be measured, not on the top performance. Upar se nahi, andar se hona chahiye. So there are certain core principles on which the good governance works. That is accountability. Of course, we said our subject was good governance and accountability of bureaucracy. So this accountability is very important. Then transparency, then equity. We'll talk more about this. Performance, participation, rule of law, strategic vision, lack of arbitrariness, ethics and integrity and predictability. These are certain characteristics of good governance, right? So we'll talk about some characteristics later. So what I want to say that good governance, if you simply want a small definition of good governance, you can say it is a process of decision making and the process by which decisions are implemented or not implemented, right? So I consider, to me, to my mind, after talking so much thing and in my experience in working in bureaucracy, good governance is the process of decision making. So how you make a decision, that is very important. So we will cover enter this talk on how to make decisions. So that will be helpful to you now and later also when you will work as bureaucrat. So bureaucracy must be accountable for every decision there. And that is why this is very, very important characteristics of good governance, accountability. So let us see decision making. What is effective? The good decision making बोलने के बजाय हम लोग बोलेंगे effective decision. So effective decision making में क्या आता है? If you see dictionary meaning of effective decision making, then you will come to know that it is adequate to accomplish a purpose, producing an intended or expected result. Means my decision should give a result which I intend to get. That is called effectiveness, right? So it has got two characteristics of effective decision making. One is it is result what I want, and it is the result out of the priority I give to the. I have so many works to do, so many things to do in my executing a job as a bureaucrat. So which is the decision which I have to take on priority? So these are the two things which are very important for, because you will have so many papers, so many decisions you will have to make, but you have to find out which is the priority number one for me, for whatever objective I told you for good governance. जिसका जो measurement हमने बोले, जिसमें result होना चाहिए, development होना चाहिए, progress होना चाहिए. All those things will come by taking which decision on priority. So that is prioritizing and focus on result. That is effectiveness. Effectiveness decides, unless you select the priority atom, which atom will if I take, because efficient means working more. Effective means working right. Working more means I have 10 work to do. And if I do all 8 works, then I'm more efficient than a person who does only 2 work. So if I do 2 work, I am inefficient. When I do 8 works, I am more efficient. But the 2 works are very, very important work, which will give a better impact to the society. And if I do only those 2 work, then I think that he is more effective than 8 works. So try to understand the difference. So effectiveness is more important in decision making. So effectiveness is prioritizing the item on which you want to take a decision. And secondly, it must give a desired result which you want. What is decision making then? If you see the definition of decision making, is the act or process of making choices with a group of people, especially in business or politics. So choice, decision making is always have a choice. You have so many choices, out of that you have to take one choice. Second is process. It is a process. So you cannot randomly take decision. You should follow certain process, especially when tough decisions are there, especially when larger objectives are involved, especially when there are many people are involved, right? So such process must be followed. So these are the 2 things. Effectiveness has got 2 characteristics, result and priority. Decision making has got 2 characteristics, choice and process. So what are the principles of effective decision making? So there are 3 principles on which we must always work for effectiveness in decision making. One is rationality. Your decision should be rational. It must have broad reasoning. Every decision must have reasoning. And one of the persons said that I'll take this decision, I'll write my reason. So reasoning is very important. But alone reasoning will not help. It must be presence of right thought. The reasoning which we are coming, we are taking that, giving that reason must be out of right thought. Presence of right thought. Humanism should be there. And third is pragmatic. It is practical usefulness should be there. You should not take some decision which is only theoretical. It will not give practical usefulness is not there. So pragmatic. So rationality, humanism, and pragmatism. These are the 3 important principles of decision making. So this must be there when, especially when we are taking tough decisions. So decision must be rational, pragmatic, and with human approach and comprehensive to give reason. Then 3 basics in decision making. One is that you must have knowledge about the subject on which you are taking a decision. So never take a decision by hearsay. So try to acquire knowledge, sufficient knowledge about the subject on which you are taking a decision. Spend some time on that. So right and enough knowledge is very important for taking a decision. So because the situations will be very many where you may not have the knowledge of the subject, but you can always, you are so much of capability you will be having that you can always try to gather the knowledge from the people who are there in this business. Call them, discuss with them, find out what is right, and take based on that. Then knowledge is important. So understanding, right understanding. Whatever you have a knowledge, but knowledge is always with your own biases. So we have certain beliefs, and that biases make us not take the right decision. So this is another aspect, that understanding means taking a right understanding means without your own biases. And there maybe we will talk more about this. And then wisdom. So your action with right intention is very important, as I said. So your intention should be right. Right intention means it is selfless intention. You must be compassionate, you must be kind, and you must see the welfare of the state, or welfare of the society, or welfare of the people who are affected by the decision. So therefore, this is also very important. Wisdom means action with right intention. Means you have decided to take action, but that will be with the right intention, not your for personal gain or somebody's benefit or something like that. So these are the three important basic decision making process. Right. So what are the steps in decision making that I had said to you? That identify the problem. First, defining the problem is very important. Many times we don't define the problem, and therefore we will not know what exact the problem is there. We will take a decision on something else where problem will persist. So that is very important to identify the problem, classify, define exact problem. Means आपके पास जो आ रहा है that may not be the समस्या actually. समस्या कुछ और है, प्रॉब्लम कुछ और आपके सामने आ रहा है, तो उसके रूट तक जाना जरूरी है. ऑब्जेक्टिव उस डिसीजन लेने के लिए उसका प्रॉब्लम को डिफाइन करना चाहिए. Then solutions. If that is the problem, then you have to spend some time on identifying the solution. अब किसी ने बोल दिया ऐसा कर लेते हैं तो नहीं, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा, especially I am talking all this for decisions which are tough, which are difficult, which are going to affect many people by your decision. So you must work on this. Then third is choose the solution, right solution. Decide what is right rather than what is acceptable. Sometimes if you take some decision which will be tough for implementation, you will have a lot of problems. आपको बहुत energy खर्चा करना पड़ेगा. And there may be another choice which is easy to implement, and you can also say that okay, I have done. So don't do that. What is acceptable is not important. What is right to do, that is important. And fourth is take action. Then don't sit on that. Take action. I said that inaction is also a wrong decision. So take action. And then while taking action, you must take a decision, tell who is person who is responsible for this implementation. Many times we take decision, but we don't fix up the responsibility, who is responsible for this implementation. And therefore that never get implemented. You take a decision, but it will never get implemented. And the last is review. So these are the very, very important processes. And this is not theory. This is not theoretical. You can always implement them, and it can be part of your actually DNA. You should always see that whenever tough decision, I will follow this process. So this should be there, right? And then I have told earlier also, but I will talk something on this characteristic of good governance, and I will give some examples because certain example I will give while I was working at one of the places or place of post. Participation. Characteristic of good governance, especially the civil servants are there who are and they have got this very important role to play. Characteristic of good government is participation. You must see that wherever, like these odd 8 characteristics I am going to speak, but all 8 may not be applicable in every way, but there are something which were applicable everywhere. So participation wherever is required, then you must see that your decision, user governance, whatever you are doing, you must participate, men and women, and that is the cornerstone of good governance. So the persons who are getting affected, who are the part of this stakeholders of this decision, stakeholder of this the process which you are undergoing, so you involve them, and then you will come to know the right things. Otherwise, you will not come to know what is going to happen, because especially IAS officers and all, they have to take many decisions. Sitting at office, he may not realize. So therefore, you must participate, you take their opinions, and then you will come to know many other problems. So participation is also very important cornerstone of good governance. Of course. Then rule of law. So good governance requires fair legal frameworks that are enforced impartially. Every time there is, I can only tell you that for doing any good thing, there are rules and there are powers and there are authorities. Only there are no rules for doing bad things, which is illegal things. There are no rules, and that is not required also. So there are rules, only competent authority changes, but there are rules and you can always do the job which you want, right? Then transparency. It may take time, but you can do it. Then transparency. Transparency means that information is freely available and directly accessible to those who will be affected by such decisions and their enforcement. So transparency should be there. This is talked most in good governance. Transparency is very, very important. whatever you are doing, whatever actions you are taking, it must be transparent, known to the people who are affected. Responsiveness. Good governance requires that institutions and processes try to serve all stakeholders within a reasonable time. So your responsiveness should be there. Now, by which time you will do this job and all. So unless you fix up the responsibility of decision, so that target will not be there. So in taking a decision, if you take a decision, this has to be implemented, then find out the person who is responsible and by what time he will do it. If you don't give that kind of instructions or orders, it will not get implemented. So therefore, responsiveness is one of the factors which is also a part of good governance. Then consensus oriented. There are many situations where you will have to mediate between the different interests of in society, because there may be different kind of groups. So in railways premises, railways, when I typically find this problem when we are naming the stations or opening the new stations, opening the new lines, opening the new trains. So we have to discuss with so many people which name should be given to this station, and there are a lot of hangama hota hai uska. So then we have to find out middle way, right? So that middle path jo buddha's middle path usme kaam aata hai, right? Then equity and inclusiveness. This is very important. The society's well-being depends on ensuring that all groups, particularly the most vulnerable, have opportunities to improve and maintain their well-being. So this is one factor which we must always consider when taking a decision. Then effectiveness and efficiency, I already told you what is effectiveness and what is efficiency. We have to be both. We have to be efficient, but at the same time effective. If you want to sacrifice one thing for the other, sacrifice efficiency, not effectiveness. Because effectiveness is always great, give result. Efficiency may not give that impact. Accountability. Accountability, it is a key requirement of good governance. And that is what is our subject of today. Not only governmental institution, but also private sector and civil society organization must be accountable. I said that there are three people who are in our governance. One is the state, another is the private sector, and third is the civil society. All should be accountable in good governance. If there is no accountability, there will not be good governance. So these three things are there. I'll try to share because this has become a monologue. So मेरा थोड़ा experience, I will tell you, and then you come to know that while working, I had got a limited opportunity to interact with public actually in my various places of posting. I had opportunity to do lot many things, but that is within the organization and organization people in the organization, and processes change. That many things I did on that, but that may not be relevant to you, or you may not be able to understand it that much unless you are part of railway. But I can also tell you, I was chairman railway recruitment board Bilaspur, and I had interaction with a lot of students, etc. So I'll tell you some of the things. When I got posted, it is not to tell you that it is to make you understand what can you do as a bureaucrat, and how it helps to become develop all these characteristics. So first thing is that when I was posted as a chairman railway recruitment board Bilaspur, I was told by many people that it is a very, very bad posting and a lot of difficulties you will face, and there is a lot of corruption and things and that. So, but then I insisted that I would like to go there because I had always have a curiosity to talk to students, and I wanted to become teacher when I was young. I was studying. Teacher is, even now also I feel that teaching is a noblest of all the professions which Mangesh sir is doing continuously. There are two noble professions I consider. One is teaching and another is doctor. So these two professions, I always salute them, right? They are in that profession. So when I got opportunity to be with the students, I immediately accepted the offer. And then I went on deputation as chairman railway recruitment board Bilaspur. And when I went there, then I was told that a lot many problems will come. So I did some changes in that. So now you are going at a place where you are already flooded with the number of things. No? That this is not good place, you will come in trouble and this and that and that. So first of all, I did some changes. So first of all, you must know that what is the people's opinion about you. That organization. So participation. So what I did is I gave my own mobile number as inquiry number on my website. So that I used to take the calls. wherever it is coming. So I would come to know what is happening in the organization, right? So that was the first step I did. Secondly, I did for participation is to not allow anybody in my office. Anybody who is entering to RRB Bilaspur must have to meet me before meeting anybody else. There is no reception now. They cannot. So another thing I did is there is no reception and people must meet me if they have any work with the organization. So of course this was difficult for me to meet everyone, but not everyone meets you. So the person who meets you is important for you for governance. So participation, these two things I did. I allowed them to meet me and I would come to know in my organization what is happening. Where is inefficiency, where is ineffectiveness, who is what, and all those things you will come to know if you meet people. So participation is very, very important. Talk to them. What is their problems and all. So that is one way of doing it. Second is transparency, for example. Rule of law, of course, we follow a lot of rules and all. Transparency, if I say. So when I went in RRB as a chairman, I used to find I used to sign a lot of replies, see a lot of RTI queries by the students and their parents. So I then found out a number of RTI queries last 2 years, made a summary, and I found out what are the reasons why RTI comes. So the 90% of cases I found out that it was due to non-giving of the result of the candidate who were failed. Now we were declaring the result only for the students who passed the exam, how many marks they have got, but not to the student who failed. And most of the queries were that, and we were giving the information to the student after they ask in RTI, how many marks they have got. Even we used to give the answer sheet. So if that is so, then I said, why we are not giving it right now without asking? So then I started displaying the result of that exam and previous exams, everything on the website of the RRB. So what happens when you display the result on the RRB of the students who have failed also? A lot of people actually told me that don't do this, you will get a lot of queries and then it will be difficult for you to answer. Then I said that when we are doing nothing wrong, then what is the point in not displaying the information? So I started displaying the information of not only the exam which was conducted by me, but the exam which were previous to my predecessors. So we started displaying all those. So they have to select some, only the concerned person can see the result of his, not open to all, of course. But if you have mother's name, father's name, roll number, etc., and what query we made on the website and we put it on the website. So we became transparent. So instead of RTI of 20 RTI average per day, I used to get 2 or 1, sometimes in average 4 or 5, and that is for different reasons. So like that you can become more transparent, and then you can, that is a good governance, I said. I'm making the information available without even asking. So asking and giving is not a solution. Without asking, you must give the information which you otherwise give after asking. Then responsiveness. Because of this, my telephone, which I have my mobile phone and number I gave, I immediately come to know what is the problem. And then I used to give response quickly, because if I don't involve them, I don't go into that, I will not come to know. Then this happens only for 1 or 2 months. After that, nothing will happen, right? So these are the two things. Then one problem is about when I was about 1 month old in the organization, that RRB. Then I found that some boys and had come, and there were a lot of noise in my office. So I asked why this noise is there. And then they said that was about some 50 people, 50 or so students have come and they all want to meet you. But earlier chairman never used to meet students. So for this reason, because there is, we cannot do anything to their problem. So secretary, there is one post called secretary RRB. He is also officer. So he will meet, and he told them that we can't do anything. You go and meet the personal branch in railways. So we have nothing to do with, sir. So they are asking, so we are telling them not to meet. I don't know how many boys are there. So about 50 people are there. Then I said, I can meet everyone. You send them, I'll talk to them. Then then only 5 people came because they have no courage to come and meet you. So only 5 people came. They said that we got selected 2.5 years ago, but we have not got appointment letters so far. So this is a problem. See, now you are not talking to people, so you will not understand the problem. And now you understood the problem, but you have no compassion for resolving their problem, their issues. And therefore I said compassion is very important. So you have to resolve their problem. So you have to be little more compassionate. So I heard their problem and I found that okay, they have not got appointment because there were no vacancies in the Bilaspur RRB region, like that part of the railways. And we selected only for that. So then I analyzed as to why there are no vacancies. So they surrender certain posts and all those things, and there are no vacancies. And there were provision in notification that if there are no vacancies, we will not select you, we will not give you appointment. Therefore, they said that, my secretary said that even if they go to the court, nothing will happen, sir. We are on the right track. But I was compassionate enough. And then that is what you should see, because we have all gone through, because my background is also like that. So I know that there is a problem of and when I spoke to that boys and girls, then I come to know that there are certain boys who got married just because they got result, and then they become they have son and daughters and they have no job. So how to solve this? Then I told them, you give me 2 months time, I'll try to solve their problem. And I took numbers of that 5 boys. And then I try to find out where are the vacancies for the post for they have got selected. It may not be in RRB Bilaspur. What about Indian Railways? Then I got letters from people that we have so many vacancies in this railway, that railway, that railway. And I got 1252 vacancies, whereas only 252 vacancies I was wanting. So, but railways, 5 railways had got 1253 vacancies or something, 1200 plus. So I said, so many vacancies are there, why can't we take them to other railways, if not Bilaspur? So then I told them that write on paper that anywhere in India we are ready to serve if given a job. Anywhere in India in railways. Then I wrote to railway board, and then after so many deliberations and all, first then they refused. It is not done normally, it is not a practice and all. But finally I convinced them, and then they agreed to give the job to them to other railways, and then all of them were sent a letter. Out of that, maybe 20-25 people did not join because they had joined another organization. So, but the problem of these people solved. What I want to say that when so many people are affected, and you can simply ignore that. You can simply say that I'm busy, and you can simply say that, okay, go home, not possible, go to the court. That's not a correct way of looking into the problem. So there may be so many situations which will come to your mind where you work as bureaucrat, and you'll always be compassionate, kind enough to, if you want to really have a right intention, I always consider that you should not have, even for the, any person comes to you, you must be compassionate, you should be kind, you should try to see empathetically the problem is telling. That is the right intention. So, that is what is, and then effectiveness and efficiency means there are so many things we can tell about this, but these are all small broad things I have told you about what I have done there in RRB, and then I got good response. Another things, when I started talking, these boys have become my friend, and they used to talk to me on phone and then ask various problems. In one such meeting, normally Railway Recruitment Board doesn't recruit Group D employee. It is the job of Railway Recruitment sale of railways. And but the persons who get selected, their document verifications used to be in my office. So they used to come. So then one day I went to talk to them. So there were about 100 students. And then I thought, let us try to understand who are they, how are they, and why they landed up here, and all this Group D job. So Group D job is difficult on railways, especially trackman and all. So then I went and I tried to find out combination. So I found that there are a lot of people who are graduate, postgraduates have got selected for Group D job. So then I found, okay, why these people who is only 10th qualification is required, 12th qualification is required, why they are joining this job? And then like I understood that there are a lot of issues regarding employment and all. But then I thought of encouraging them for uh, trying more. So I started taking lectures of 1 hour for them, just because of my curiosity as to they should make good in their life. So those kind of thing is also our job. We must encourage and try to help people because they see you from different angle. You are at a better pedestal than them, and they listen to you. They may not be listening to their parents, but they may be listening to you and take more efforts. And I have got a lot of results of boys and girls who have done wonderfully well after that, leaving the job and would be employees. So those things are there. And then I used to go into the examination hall because RRB exam, you know that all exam will become online. They call students for 2 hours or so. And most of the time, the boys and girls sits in the class and they get bored. And a lot of problems are there, but they don't tell you. They simply appear for examination. And they are not very energetic while appearing for exam, and as a result of which they don't do well. जितना उन्होंने अच्छा कर सकते उतना नहीं कर सकते because they have got their own issues. गर्म हवा आती है, and there are so many issues that station is far long, and especially RRB, no, you know the class of people, because there are a lot of poor students appear in that exam, and giving a fare of 70 rupees from station to the engineering college where the exam is there is very difficult for them. So with all these problems they face, and they appear for exam and keep thinking about this problem, and they then thereby fail to devote more time on the exam preparation, or their mental setup is not such that. So I started, I decided, when I went to 1 or 2 such, because earlier chairman used to go only quite very rarely to the exam hall and talk to them. And even if he goes, there will be a lot of people along with him. But what I decided that when I wanted to go there myself along with one of the person in the office, and without anybody from RPF or anybody, police, and then I used to go and talk to them, what are their problems, and I understood that these are all problems and they are not in a better mental state to solve the exam. So I tried to develop some 5-minute speech, and then I used to encourage them not to use mobile and this and that, but to tell them that if your mental setup is not good, if you are not enthusiastic, if you are not happy while giving exam, you cannot do good. So there were so many examples after that I spoke to them, that lot many people, I got a lot of feedbacks from them that they have done wonderfully well after talking to us. They become cheerful and they were so nice feeling and all these things. So I started talking to them quite frequently, and every station, every classroom I try to go. So that is, I'm not talking about why I'm talking all this thing. I said that this is what, if you are, whatever job is given to you, must try to see the welfare of the stakeholders who are getting benefited or not benefited. And sometimes you have to go out of your regular duties also. So sometimes I give example of that if somebody is, if some officer is there and there is a situation where there is certain scheme is there, that scheme is applicable for certain X type of requirement. For example, if there is a flood in some village, then so many rupees can be given to that families, but only 5 families can be given. That is the rule or decided by the state. And then there are 6 persons comes to, and he has got equally bad position as compared to that 5. But you have already exhausted that 5. You have no funds for giving to the 6th fellow. The great officer, if after knowing, or bureaucrat will be, otherwise also will try to help him, try to process his case out of the way नहीं, additional case करके process करने की कोशिश करेगा, या फिर NGOs को बोलेगा उसकी मदद करे. Whatever is possible for him to do, he will try to do. So that is not his duty, but It is a part of good governance. If you listen to the people, then you will get some solution as to kya karna hai, right? So this is a very important thing I wanted to tell you. So let us proceed further. So I can only tell you that type of decision making. This is all I told you. More or less we have covered the subject, but some academics I will tell you now about decision making, which I normally use in my practice. So I thought I have gone through some of the books and I found that these are very nice principles on which we can work so that we can make better decisions. And I can tell you that after applying this in my life, I am a better decision maker. I become more happy instead of stressed. So let me, I so thought that I will tell you. So there are two types of decision normally we make. One is a fast decision, another is a slow decision. There is a slow thinking, fast thinking. There is a one book called Slow Thinking, Fast Thinking that you can read sometime. So it is from that book, and it is that many times when 90% of our decision is fast, you immediately take a decision, and that is required also. You cannot every time go through the process. अब मुझे आज खाना क्या खाना है, ये तो हम लोग सोच के नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है, ओके चलता है, पोहा खाएंगे. This is small decision, है ना? Which way I should take. These are small decisions, but tough decisions are there where it is personal or it is official. You have to have slow thinking. You must be conscious of what you are doing, and you must take some efforts while finding out choices. So these are very important kind of things. So what you mean by slow? Slow means you apply your mind, you become conscious, find out the choices. I'll tell you more about this later on. So fast decisions are important, but very important decision you must be slow. You should not take fast. So some of the hindrances are there in the decision making. So normally when you face a choice, immediately after getting one or two, अरे ऐसा कर लेते, वैसा कर लेते. If you get one or two options, you implement immediately. So that is a wrong practice, especially when you have more very tough decisions to be made. You when you encounter a choice, आपको एक choice मिल गया, आप decision ले लेते. ऐसे नहीं करना है. What do you have to do? You miss some of the options if you are not finding out more options. So try to find out more options. Ask people. And find out more options. और क्या हो सकता है, और क्या हो सकता है, और क्या कर सकते हैं, ऐसा कर सकते हैं क्या? Give some opportunity for them. So if you do that, you will get better option. Possibly you will miss if you don't do this. So that is one hindrance. Second is while you analyze the option, मुझे ये अच्छा लगता है करके, हाँ ठीक है, ये मुझे लगता है ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं. See, analyze properly without your own confirmation biases. Confirmation biases हमारे belief system में बना हुआ है. ये सही है, ये गलत है, वो अच्छा नहीं करता है, ये अच्छा करता है. ये सारे हमारे बायसेस हैं, है ना? इससे नहीं हो सकता, इससे हो सकता है. तो ये बायसेस हमारे डिसीजन को, हमारे चॉइसेस को एनालाइज करने में हमें मदद नहीं करती है. तो यू मस्ट अवॉइड योर बायसेस. और कैसे करना मैं आपको बताता हूँ. देन मेकिंग अ चॉइस. व्हाइल यू मेक अ चॉइस यू बिकम इमोशनल. अरे यार इससे ये हो जाएगा, उससे हो जाएगा. लेकिन शॉर्ट टर्म इमोशंस आर नेवर यूजफुल for taking hard decisions. Emotions को थोड़ा सा बाजू में रख के then make a choice, because otherwise you will tempt to this short term emotions. So there can be many examples of this. So short term emotion में हम लोग बहुत गलती कर जाते हैं, and then we make a wrong decision, make a wrong choice, and then post decision. Then you are so confident that कि मैंने decision ले लिया, अब वो तो सही चल रहा होगा. तो सही नहीं चल रहा होता. कई बार हमारा decision wrong भी हो सकता है. So never be so confident that कि मैंने जो decision ले लिया वो सही हुए. Try to review the decision after some time. Find out the person who was responsible as to how it is going through. So if you don't do this, then these are all hindrances in the decision. So how to resolve this? So नॉर्मल फ्रेमिंग के लिए क्या, you should widen your option. जितना ज्यादा options मिल सकते हैं, depending on how much time you have. Find out more options. है ना? Be open-minded. है ना? Look for all options. फाइनल डिसीजन कुछ और लेंगे, लेकिन ऑप्शन नहीं है तो डिसीजन विल बी अ लिटिल पुअर डिसीजन. देन सेकेंडली कंफर्मेशन बायस. तो आप you test your assumptions. You don't believe that my assumptions are true. You test. ऐसा डिसीजन लेने से मैं सोचता हूँ ऐसा हो जाएगा क्या, थोड़ा करके देखें. Focus on trustworthiness of information. Don't worry about what your bias is. योर बायसेस मे नॉट बी ट्रस्टवर्दी। आपको कोई आके पीछे से कुछ बताता है वो सही नहीं है, आप उसको फोकस करो कि ट्रस्टवर्दी है ये इन्फॉर्मेशन जो मुझे दी गई है, उसको फाइंड आउट करो। डोंट बिकम कि इसने बताया तो सही होगा, उसने बताया तो सही होगा, ऐसे नहीं होता है। यू हैव टू एनालाइज योरसेल्फ, है ना। तो ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यू मे डेवलप सम ट्रस्ट विद समबडी, but never when, because you have lot of postings where you are new, so these are things which will come into picture. Then short term emotions, so if short term emotions are coming, then पहले आप इमोशन को जाने दो, बाद में डिसीजन लेंगे, दूसरे दिन ले लो, उस वक्त मत लो, take after some time. So separate your emotions from the problem and then take a decision, right? So never be emotional while taking decision, and then don't be overconfident. Prepare to be wrong, you may be wrong. So learning the plan for uncertainty, अगर ऐसा कर लिया, मैंने सब एनालाइज कर लिया, ऑप्शन भी सिलेक्ट कर लिया, सब कुछ हो गया, but they may be wrong and it will help to make successful decisions. तो एक अपना प्लान बी भी रेडी हो सकता है. This is the, so गैप को, आपके जो ऑप्शन को बढ़ाने के लिए आपने क्या करेंगे, आप क्वेश्चन को दूसरी तरह से पूछ के देखेंगे. मतलब सपोजिंगली आपको एक प्रॉब्लम है, आपको एक समस्या है कि जैसे मैंने सोचा वो प्रॉब्लम का, उसको उनको अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर नहीं मिल रहा था क्योंकि देयर वर नो वैकेंसीज. अगर मैं ये क्वेश्चन पूछता उसको, मेरे सेक्रेटरी को, क्या कि ये करना सही है या गलत है, तो ये क्या बोलता, सर ये सही है क्योंकि नोटिफिकेशन में लिखा हुआ है. बट मैंने दूसरा क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा, और क्या कर सकते हैं भैया इसको, व्हाट कैन एल्स बी डन. बोले सर नहीं, वैकेंसी नहीं है तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते. फिर तीसरा क्वेश्चन, कैन वी टेक देम टू अदर रेलवेज, अनदर क्वेश्चन. व्हेन यू आस्क अनदर क्वेश्चन you will get another answer, right? बोला सर हो तो सकता है लेकिन ये रेलवे बोर्ड का परमिशन लगेगा, आज तक तो हमने किया नहीं है. Okay, then you try. So when you reframe the question you will get the different answer, right? So इस तरह से आप options को थोड़ा सा बढ़ाइएगा तो you will get better options. Then reality testing of your assumptions, मतलब आपकी biases नहीं हो, इसलिए आप क्या करो, उल्टा सोच के देखो. मतलब जो आपने डिसीजन लिया उसका उल्टा करेंगे तो क्या होगा. अगर वो ज्यादा अच्छा लग रहा है तो वो हो सकता है आपका बायस की वजह से आपको ठीक नहीं लग रहा. कभी कभी अंदर जाके देखो, कभी कभी बाहर के लोगों को पूछो. तो जूम इन एंड जूम आउट बोलते हैं उसको. दिस इज आल्सो वन ऑफ द बुक्स कॉल्ड डिसीजिंग, जिसमें से मैंने ये लिया है, डिसीजिंग, राइट. एंड देन कभी कभी हम छोटा सा स्केल पे इंप्लीमेंट करके देखते हैं, छोटा सा पहले से छोटी जगह इंप्लीमेंट करके देखो. वहां अगर आपको लगा ये नहीं हो सकता तो देन यू लीव दैट, अदरवाइज देन इंप्लीमेंट एवरीथिंग. Then attaining distance before deciding, ये इमोशन को कंट्रोल करने के लिए. तो ऐसा कहते हैं कि वो बोलते हैं आप 10 मिनट थोड़ा सा उसको यू फील अबाउट 10 मिनट्स और 10 महीने तक उसको ऑब्जर्व करो वो डिसीजन को. The IAS officers takes a decision which affects years together. तो आपको वो सोचना पड़ेगा थोड़ा कि 10 मिनट में के बाद सोचो, 10 मिनट के बाद इसका क्या रिजल्ट हो सकता है, 10 साल के बाद इसका क्या रिजल्ट हो सकता है. ऐसा जब सोचेंगे तो आप इमोशन के बाहर आ जाएंगे, नहीं तो आपका पर्सपेक्टिव वही रहेगा जो आपका. तो ये सारी बातें. देन प्रिपेयर टू बी रॉन्ग, जो मैंने बोला ना आपको, प्री मॉर्टम पोस्टमार्टम. जैसे पोस्टमार्टम मतलब चीजें होने के बाद क्या हो सकता है इसके बारे में सोचना, कि रॉन्ग हो गया तो क्या करेंगे, रॉन्ग नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, ये पहले से सोच के रखना. ये सारी बातें जो मैं बता रहा हूँ, दिस इज फॉर द डिसीजंस व्हिच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट for yourself as well as for the society. Then मैं थोड़ा सा ethical decision making बता के then we will close this because I have another 15 minutes are there. So ethical decision making में there are two categories which falls. One is the right versus wrong decisions. Right versus wrong decisions, sometimes it is easy because you know this is right, this is wrong. So it is easy kind of decision. I say it is a moral temptation you get to become a wrong. So उसके लिए क्या करना है, and there are certain decisions which are right and more right. Then ethical dilemma comes. Decision which are right and wrong, we can say it is a moral temptation. And ethical dilemma comes when it is right versus more right, or right versus right decision, we can say. So in case of right versus wrong dilemma is there, then you can have this. You may be violating some law, जो नॉर्म दिया हुआ है, वो इंटेंशनली हो और अनइंटेंशनल हो, बट आप लॉ को तोड़ रहे हो, वायलेशन है. Secondly, departure from truth. आप कुछ गलत चीजों को लोगों को बता रहे हो, falsifying the facts, pretending because you know that this is right but you are doing wrong. Disclaiming without investigation. Sometimes you say you claim this without proper investigation. So departure from truth. Then first is violation of law, second is departure from truth, and third is deviation from moral rectitude. So you may be immoral, you may be आपको दिख रहा है कि गलत हो रहा है लेकिन आप ध्यान नहीं दे रहे, inaction towards of the law. So these are the three reasons which may fall into the moral temptation. But what is the solution? आप स्टेंस टेस्ट करो, इसको भी बोलते हैं स्टेंस टेस्ट. मतलब आप आपकी गट क्या बोलता है, आपको क्या लगता है. समटाइम्स आपके अंदर की आवाज आती है कि ये सही नहीं कर रहा हो यार मैं, इट्स नॉट गुड, although it is on paper it is right. Paper it may feel right, but maybe it is a wrong decision. ये मैं एक स्टोरी बताया करता था बच्चों को कि इसको कैसे पहचानने का है. तो एक अकाउंटेंट की स्टोरी I used to tell that one accountant. This is also on some book I must have read sometime, and I felt it's very nice story to tell to boys, especially school students. So one boy was there who just recently joined as an accountant, and he has only mother and nobody else in the family, old age mother, and he used to share all his things in the house after going to home. ऑफिस में क्या हुआ, नया नया ज्वाइन किया था एज अकाउंटेंट, एंड देन ऑफिस में क्या हुआ घर जाके अपनी मदर को बताता था, मम्मी को बताता था, माँ को बताता था, और देन ही यूज्ड टू शेयर अ वेरी हैप्पी लाइफ विद देम undergoing. And one day fine morning when in office he was there, one person came to him and he told him that if you do this job for me, which is his job of course, then I'll give you a lot of money, you know. So the boy, he was new and he was not understanding what to do. He said that whatever he's telling, there is nothing wrong in it, I can always do it. Somehow उसको लग रहा था कि ये पता नहीं यार. उसने उसको बोला अभी तो नहीं करता, मैं कल बताऊंगा. Then he went home. After going home, he as usual he used to discuss with his mother, and then he talked to his mother and he told everything that आज एक आदमी आया था मेरे ऑफिस में ऐसे ऐसे बोल के गया. After discussion for long time, उसकी मदर अपना उसके रूम से निकल के जहाँ पे डिस्कस कर रहे थे वहां से निकल के जाने लगी. एंड देन शी टोल्ड हिम दैट इन हिंदी शी सेड दैट बेटा आपने जितना कुछ बताया मुझे तो ज्यादा समझ में आया नहीं कि क्या करना है, लेकिन मुझे इतना पता है कि जब भी मैं सुबह 4 बजे उठती हूँ और आपके कमरे में झांकती हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि हाँ बहुत ही गहरी नींद में सोए, यू आर स्लीपिंग अ वेरी वेरी पीसफुल स्लीप. कुछ काम हो, कुछ ऐसा हो, कुछ भी करो, बट ऐसा ना करो कोई काम कि जब मैं 4 बजे सोकर उठ के आपके कमरे में आऊँ तो आप जाग रहे हो. तो आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट, है ना, आप जाग रहे हो. तो वो जो बात है उसको समझ में आ जाती है कि दिस इज कॉल्ड गट. आपको लगता है पेपर में सब सही लग रहा है, बट आपको लग रहा है तो गिव सेकंड थॉट टू इट, ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट व्हाई आई एम फीलिंग लाइक दैट, एंड इफ यू आर फीलिंग दैट दिस इज नॉट ओके, डोंट डू इट. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टेंस टेस्ट. सेकंड इज द फ्रंट पेज टेस्ट. जस्ट फील दैट कि अगर ये फैक्ट जो मैं छुपा के रखा हूँ ट्रूथ नहीं है, अगर ये पेपर में छप जाएगा तो वेदर यू वुड लव, आपको अच्छा लगेगा. सो दिस इज द टेस्ट ऑफ योर सोशल. सो आपको ये फ्रंट पेज टेस्ट बोलते हैं, हम लोग बोलेंगे इसको फ्रंट पेज टेस्ट. दिस इज यूज्ड बाय सम ऑथर. तो ये अगर नहीं लग रहा है तो मत करो उस डिसीजन को. थर्ड इज मॉम टेस्ट. मॉम टेस्ट मतलब अगर आपकी मम्मा को पता चला, आपकी मदर को पता चला, आई ऑलवेज गिव मदर्स एग्जांपल बिकॉज़ आई फील दैट विल वी अंडरस्टैंड मोर अबाउट इट, है ना. तो अगर आपको माँ को पता चला है, आपकी मदर को पता चला है कि ये ऐसा मैंने किया है, तो उसे अच्छा लगेगा क्या? और अगर अच्छा लगेगा तो करो, नहीं लगेगा तो मत करो. बहुत सिंपल है. So these are the three things you keep in mind while taking a decision, and if you take care of this, you will automatically govern nicely. It will be nice decision. Nice decision means the welfare of the society. So of course there. The second is right versus right dilemma. This is a very very important thing that especially the bureaucrats come into this dilemma many times. So something I will tell you. Of course this may not be total, but कुछ आपको थोड़ा academics ध्यान में आएगा तो then you will be more careful about it. You will understand that what is this. So अभी तो civil services में इसका एक ethics करके subject भी होता है. It was not there earlier. So they will teach you all this thing. So but still it is better to know in the beginning itself. The truth versus loyalty. So sometimes it is it right to stand on truth or is it right to be loyal? We develop a lot of loyalty with the people, persons, corporation, bodies, government. So many ideas we have become loyal. So whether you will go with the truth or loyalty. If you go with the truth, it is right. And if you are loyal to a person, it is right. What is more right? That is where dilemma comes. अरे यार ये मेरे भाई का दोस्त है या मेरा भाई है, कर जाऊंगा तो फेल हो जाएगा मेरा भाई या जो भी है, या मेरे दोस्त का लड़का है, कुछ भी। ट्रुथ क्या है कि सही डिसीजन लेना हो बच्चा में, उसकी मदद करना भी आपका काम, दैट इज आल्सो राइट, बट दैट इज नॉट एथिकल. So you have to take a call for this. This dilemma always you face, and we try to be a little more softer because of loyalty, and then they will make a. And third is second is individual versus community. Sometimes is it right to consider the individual or is it right to consider the community? खुद के बारे में सोचना अच्छी बात है, it's good. मतलब कोई डिसीजन से मेरा कोई केस नहीं होगा, मेरा विजिलेंस केस नहीं होगा, लेकिन जो डिसीजन आप ले रहे हो उससे लोगों का भला भी तो नहीं हो रहा है. दिस इज डिलेमा. मतलब वेदर आई शुड कंसीडर कम्युनिटी का भला करता हूं तो हो सकता है मुझे क्वेश्चन करेंगे. कम्युनिटी मतलब द पर्सन स्टेक होल्डर्स व्हिच आर अफेक्टेड बाय माय डिसीजन. पीपल मे क्वेश्चन मी, इफ दे विल क्वेश्चन यू एंड यू आर कंसीडरिंग योर सेफ्टी, बोथ आर करेक्ट. व्हाट इज मोर करेक्ट? दैट यू टेक अ कॉल. शॉर्ट टर्म वर्सेस लॉन्ग टर्म. कभी कभी कोई डिसीजन अभी अच्छा लगता है, लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए अच्छा नहीं हो, लेकिन many bureaucrats takes this decision because अभी मेरा टेन्योर तो इतना है, मुझे क्या करना है, तो वो नहीं सोचना है. तो शॉर्ट टर्म वर्सेस लॉन्ग टर्म दोनों सही है. लॉन्ग टर्म का सोचना, अभी थोड़ा सफर होना अच्छी बात है. अभी का सोचना लॉन्ग टर्म में चल, वो आपके ऊपर है. कभी कभी देखो सम लेसर रिसोर्सेस, तो हम लोग को रिसोर्स कम है तो अभी इतना कर लेते, बट वी डोंट टेक मोर लेबर और एफर्ट्स टू think about long term. So ये भी एक dilemma आता है कभी कभी, right? Justice versus mercy, है ना? Is it right to be merciful or is it right to enforce justice? है ना? हमारे तो हम लोग तो president had right to give a mercy petition, उनके साथ फाइल होती है ना? तो इसमें डिलेमा होता है. तो कई टाइम पॉजिटिव्स निगेटिव्स देख के उसका लॉन्ग टर्म इफेक्ट देख के हमको समटाइम जस्टिस के तरफ नहीं ध्यान देके मर्सी पे भी हम जाते हैं. तो वो एक डिलेमा होता है, क्या करना चाहिए. तो इसको जितना पढ़ोगे, जितना सोचोगे इसके बारे में, यू विल थिंक अबाउट इट, डिस्कस द केस, फाइंड आउट, आपकी और ज्यादा अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगी इसके ऊपर. बट दीज आर द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑन विच वी मस्ट गिव अवर अटेंशन टू. सो दीज आर द फोर थिंग्स. इसके भी मैं थोड़ा सा बता दूंगा कैसे इसको देखते हैं. जैसे जब का हमने केस देखा था रेलवे वाला, तो किसी ने बोला था ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट, कम इम्पैक्ट ऑफ, मतलब रॉन्ग इम्पैक्ट कम हो और ज्यादा लोगों का फायदा हो. यूटिलिटेरियन अप्रोच बोलते हैं उसका, एंड बेस्ट. एंड ज्यादा अच्छा क्या है उसके ऊपर मैं ज्यादा फोकस करता हूँ. उसको कॉन्सेप्चुअलिज्म बोलते हैं या यूटिलिटेरियन बोलते हैं. तो दीज आर द थिंग्स समटाइम्स वी टेक इनटू कंसीडरेशन. एंड बेस्ट थिंकिंग, व्हाट इज ग्रेटर गुड, ऐसा कहते हैं. तो इथिकल डिलेमा जब हम फेस करते हैं तो ज्यादा लोगों का किसमें भला हो रहा है वो हम लोग देखते हैं. That may not be true always, but ये भी एक वे है उसको देखने का. दूसरा रूल बेस्ड. Rules exist for a purpose. They promote order and justice, but should be followed. Follow the principle that you want to others to follow. मतलब आप उसको फॉलो करना चाहिए जो आपको लगता है दूसरे ने फॉलो करना चाहिए. Stick to your principles and let the chips fall where they may. तो sometimes आप principles पे जाते हैं तो उसको नॉन कॉन्सेक्वेंशियलिज्म बोलते हैं. जैसे कि बोलते हैं कि वो राइट ट्रैक पे जाना है तो राइट ट्रैक पे जाएगा. अब उसमें तो उनको पता होना चाहिए कि वहां नहीं खेलना, उनके पेरेंट ने ध्यान देना चाहिए, है ना. वो राइट ट्रैक पे जाएगा, रॉन्ग ट्रैक पे कैसे जाएगा? देयर इज नो रूल टू सेंड इट टू रॉन्ग ट्रैक, है ना. तो मैं होता डिसीजन मेकर तो मैं रॉन्ग ट्रैक पे डालता ही नहीं उसको, क्योंकि उसके मैं रूल के बेस पे जा रहा हूँ. तो दिस इज वन वे ऑफ लुकिंग इनटू द प्रॉब्लम. बट मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, एवरी प्रॉब्लम हैज अ डिफरेंट सॉल्यूशंस, सो यू हैव टू लुक फॉर दैट. द थर्ड वे ऑफ इज को केयर बेस्ड, पुटिंग लव फॉर द अदर्स फर्स्ट. जैसे मैंने बोला कंपैशन, लव, काइंडनेस, इट इज मोस्ट इन मोस्ट ऑफ द सिचुएशन. हमारी बायस कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए. हमारा किसी के साथ झगड़ा हो, कुछ हो, बट हमारे डिसीजन मेकिंग में वो बायस नहीं होना चाहिए. To put love for others, it is most associated with the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. आपको उन्होंने कैसे आपके साथ बर्ताव करना चाहिए, ऐसा लगता है वैसा आपने उनके साथ करना चाहिए. So that is a very, very important golden rule. So how would you feel if you were the recipient rather than perpetrator of your action? आपके ऊपर होता तो कैसे लगता? Care based ethical decision making. तो इसके ऊपर भी हम लोग ध्यान दे सकते हैं. These are the 3 cases where we can look into. Another 1 or 2 slides are there. I'll finish by 10:30. I feel that कि of course मैं बहुत सारा एकेडमिक बताता हूँ, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है जब हमको एकेडमिक मालूम होता है, थ्योरी मालूम होती है, तो प्रैक्टिकल में उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना आसान हो जाता है. तो 4 एस्पेक्ट्स टू कैरेक्टर. ऑफ कोर्स कैरेक्टर की बहुत डेफिनेशंस होगी, लेकिन मुझे ये थोड़ा किसी किताब से अच्छा लगा. मुझे लगा कि ये these are very important. तो कैरेक्टर में क्या है? It must be committed to the set of values without compromise. पहला 5 एस्पेक्ट में बताऊं, 4 नहीं 5 होना चाहिए, गलती से 4 लिखा है. 5 एस्पेक्ट्स टू कैरेक्टर. फर्स्ट इज यू मस्ट बी कमिटेड टू सेट ऑफ वैल्यूज विदाउट कॉम्प्रोमाइज, है ना. तो डिसीजन मेकिंग में हमारा कमिटमेंट होना चाहिए, हमारा गवर्नेंस में, और वी शुड नॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन वैल्यूज, राइट. सेकंड इज डेडिकेशन टू सेट ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड विदाउट व्यूवरिंग. अगर हमने ये स्टैंडर्ड सेट करके रखा है तो हमने डरना नहीं है, हमने व्यूअर नहीं होना है इन द सिचुएशन व्हेन इट कम्स. थर्ड इज डिसिप्लिन, एंड दैट इज सेल्फ इम्पोज्ड. नोबडी इज टेलिंग. This self-imposed discipline with moral convictions. Convictions is very important. So moral conviction के साथ कोई discipline होना चाहिए जो हमने खुद ने बनाया. And चौथा है integrate. हम में 2 भाग होते हैं, एक बोलता है कर लो यार, एक बोलता है मत करो. बट हमारे ये क्यों होता है? क्योंकि हमारे वर्ड और एक्शन में डिफरेंस होता है. एंड ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम वी मस्ट लर्न दैट हमारे वर्ड और एक्शन में डिफरेंस नहीं रहे, एक ही हो जाए, इंटीग्रेट हो जाए. जो हम बोलते हैं वैसा ही हम करते हैं, हम लोगों को बताने के लिए नहीं करते, हम है ऐसे, वो इंटीग्रेशन है. सो दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ कैरेक्टर. एंड देन सैक्रिफाइस. समटाइम्स वी हैव टू बी विलिंग टू सैक्रिफाइस योर ओन प्लेजर्स और प्रिंसिपल्स. और ये होगा व्हेन यू आर एथिकल लीडर. दिस विल कम टू द फोर, एंड दिस विल कम क्वाइट सम टाइम. But as and when you develop your character, you become courageous. So you will take a good decision. So एक समरी बना लेते, समरी हम लोग देख लेते, ताकि अभी तक जो लोग बाद में ज्वाइन किए, या फिर थोड़ा सा बहुत ज्यादा लंबा लेक्चर होता है और थोड़ा सा प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स वाला होता है तो याद नहीं रहता, या फिर हम लोग ज्यादा हो जाता है. तो I will try to recollect what we have talked. So we have talked about good governance. डेफिनेशंस हमने देखी, उसमें हमने देखा कि कुछ चीजें उसमें कॉमन होती है गुड गवर्नेंस में, है ना. इट इज अ प्रोसेस हम बोलते हैं. इट इज देयर आर 3 people who are involved in them. The state is involved, the private parties are involved, and civil societies are involved. Then core principles हमने 7-8 principles बोले थे. Participation of the men and women. Then rule of law should be followed. Then transparency should be there. Then we must be responsive. जल्दी हमने रिस्पॉन्स देना चाहिए, टारगेटेड. कंसेंसस शुड बी देयर wherever it is required, and equity and inclusiveness should be there. Then we said that efficiency and effectiveness should be there, and accountability, of course. So these are the core principles of good governance we have seen. Then because good governance means effective decision making, that is what I feel, and therefore I say talk more about decision making. So principles of effective decision making, which involves rationality, humanism, and pragmatism. Basics of decision making, I said we must have knowledge, and we must have understanding, right understanding without bias, and then wisdom with right intention. Some decisions you have to be fast, some decisions you have to be slow. Fast decision we always take by impulses, and that is also required. It is not that it is not required. And some decisions are slow, where we have to take tough decisions. Then we have talked about characteristics of good governance that I already spoken. Then processes we have seen, hindrances we have seen. We have normally 4 hindrances in decision making. One is narrow framing, and we don't choose a lot of options. Then we have some confirmation biases. Sometimes we have short-term emotions which will compel us to take wrong decisions. Then we are overconfident about our decisions. So instead of that, widen your choices. Test your decision, so that you will not have bias. Then emotion नहीं हो करके आप थोड़ा देर के बात करो. Once you are emotional, don't take a decision and be prepared to be wrong to avoid overconfidence. Okay. Then we have also seen the ethical dilemma, ethical decisions. Then we said that there are two kinds of ethical decision. One is right versus wrong, another is right versus right or more right. So right versus wrong is actually moral temptation, where we have said that you make mistakes in 3 areas. And then I told you, you can have 3 tests, bench test, that is gut test, front page test, that matter may come into the front page of the paper, and mom test, what your mom will fill. Then we also saw ethical dilemmas. There are 4 kinds of ethical dilemma that can come. Trust versus loyalty. I have truth versus loyalty, not truth. Truth versus loyalty. Individual versus community. Short term versus long term. And justice versus mercy. And to resolve this dilemma, I said end best means what is beneficial at the end. Zyada logon ka kisme bhala hoga. Rule best. So sometimes you have to take decisions which are rule based, and sometimes you have to take a decision care based. So these are all the things which we have talked today. The last quote, because always we must look for the quotes, actually it gives a lot of energy. So in a moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. Decision लेने में सबसे best thing आप क्या कर सकते हो? Right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. या तो right thing कर सकते हो, उससे next best thing या wrong thing कर सकते हो. The worst thing can be do is nothing. The decision नहीं लेते, worst thing हो सकता है. So it is better to take right or wrong decision instead of becoming a worst decision maker. And this is told by this Roosevelt, who was 26th president of the United States, right? So thank you so much. Actually, I hope I have completed in time, and thank you so much for giving me opportunity to speak to the student today, Mukesh. And thank you everyone who listened very nicely. And that's all. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir, because you prepared this entire session. You took efforts. Yesterday only I talked with you, and you, sir, it's very appreciable that you took efforts, prepared this session, prepared all those slides, and enlighten our students with great stuff. It's not that you just deliver your lecture, but you delivered your entire lecture with great stuff. So on the behalf of Sambodhi Career Academy, I express my gratitude towards you and your wonderful session, sir. Now, my dear friends, students, you have listened to sir from 9 a.m. to now 10:30 a.m. and whatever time allotted to sir, that is 1.5 hours. So very strictly considering that time frame, sir delivered entire lecture. Okay, so see, he expressed with you what are the what is actually good governance, what is accountability, what is the responsibility of the bureaucracy, what is the responsibility of the state, market, and the citizens. Okay, what is good decision, wrong decision, right decision, worst decision. Okay, what will cause because of silence and all these things. So many things he elaborated. Okay, this is like this 1.5 hour lecture is a preparation of your one very important subject which is mentioned in UPSC civil services examination, and it is also mentioned in different state services examination also. It is a part and parcel of ethics also, ethics paper which is deliberately mentioned in UPSC civil services mains, and in that this good governance, this accountability, all these things are there. So this 1.5 hour lecture is nothing but a preparation of your one of the major part of interview also, because so many things his personal experiences shared by Honorable Anil Ramteke sir, and how he contributed in the welfare of those students who were job seekers. Okay, so that he shared, So many experiences he shared. And so this is a preparation of your mains level examination, one part of mains examination and the interview. Okay, so now open to you students. You can ask questions after listening this lecture, and I appeal you that you should not miss this opportunity to ask question to sir, because ये पॉसिबल नहीं होता है कि इतने बड़े ऑफिसर के साथ आपको मिलना, इंटरेक्ट करना, ये अपॉर्चुनिटी आप लोगों को नहीं मिलती है, ये बात ध्यान में रखिएगा। ओके, और वो भी एक डाउन टू अर्थ ऑफिसर की जो हर बात आप लोगों के साथ शेयर कर रहे हैं, कोई भी उसमें ये नहीं कर रहे वो, तो आप लोग यू टेक दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड प्लीज आस्क क्वेश्चन टू सर इफ एनी। यस, या तन्वी, on your video and ask your question. Yeah, Tanvi is from Hyderabad.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. Actually, first of all, I would like to express my gratitude towards you. You have explained so nicely that I loved your lecture, and I got to know so many things. And my question is that, as you explained so nicely, that I got a doubt that was there any situation that you have taken a wrong decision and then you were thinking that it was wrong, and then what was your course of action to correct that decision, if any?
Good, Tanvi, nice question actually, and I will always tell you that you are bound to take wrong decision when you are joining new into the government, because some of the decisions you have taken in the early days of your employment or working, after 1 year or 2 years, if you see, you will come to know that I would have taken better decision in this particular case. So there will be so many such decisions. They may not be wrong from the legal point of view or from the point of view of somebody will catch you or something, nothing like illegal, but that will not be effective decision. Effective decision and legal decision are two different things. So effective decision means it must give you a desired result, right? For example, let me tell you that when I was initially posted as assistant materials manager on that time it was called assistant materials manager on Indian Railways, and I had a responsibility of making materials available to the people as and when it is required. So now my job is to see that the materials are available to everybody at any moment of time when they want it, right? Now what I have done is that many times I used to take a decision because there are rules certain in the government, no, that you must accept the lowest offer. You cannot divert your this thing, you cannot give to higher offer. So we had an opportunity to give the orders to the person who you will give tomorrow itself, but we used to give after 10 days. Person is giving because it is lowest, otherwise somebody will catch me, because that your vision is not that much now. So you will feel that somebody will catch me for giving orders at higher rate. So this is an example I am giving you. But now if somebody tells me I can write 10 lines as to why I am giving to N2, which is in 1 day, because what is the work that is suffering. So anyway, that point of time, the work might have suffered. He might have delayed maintenance. Something else might have happened, but I had no courage that point in time because I was not aware about this. I must be aware that taking a right decision with right intention is not bad. Nobody will catch you. But what you are told always are negative things. If you do these things, somebody will catch you. If you do this thing, somebody will catch you. So it's a negative bombardment during your trainings and your officers, seniors, and all those things. You always try to save yourself instead of community or instead of the stakeholders. So that is why there is a dilemma when it comes that when your self-defense or the defense of the entire organization, then you have to pros and cons then you have to take a call. So I have made a number of decisions are there where I am wrong, but that is not wrong from the perspective of my some illegality. It is wrong from effectiveness point of view. That is more important. I hope I have to some extent answered your question.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any more question from students?
Yes,
Take
sir,
this
I have.
opportunity. Yeah, Krishita.
Sir, in the starting, you told a story about that track 1 and track 2.
Right.
So, if you were in the situation, what would you choose?
I said that there is no right or wrong decisions, right? So you have to take many decisions with an impulse immediately. So your mind, you must be always, you must know always. So the first thing for becoming enlightenment is awareness, है ना? मतलब थोड़ा ज़्यादा बुद्धिमान होने के लिए awareness होना जरूरी है. So you must be aware first. Okay, what are the things which I must? So it should be in your DNA. जब भी situation आता है, it should not be impulsive. It should be in your DNA that I always think like this. Now question is that you have no time to think that what will happen if I do this or that. But what I have told you, if you have opportunity to have time to think about it, then you have two options. One is that why unnecessarily send a train having 2,000 or 3,000 passengers on a track which is unused, because that is more harmful to the, if you see, normally we were telling that 12 boys or 15 boys, but if 2,000 passengers, if you send a train on a track which is unused, it's likely to be derailed, and then so many passengers will get affected. I cannot tell you at that point of time how I would have, what I would have done. That is not possible to be told right now. Right now, I have done an analysis. So I can say that possibly I may not be worried. Like not many people have taken, we will put horn, will do something else. That I also might have done. But the thing is that now I am, after happening the incidents, I am thinking, impulsive decision making is a process where you have to develop your ability, your skill, to think a lot before taking a decision. So every time you have problem in your life, think positive kind of decisions. Okay, मैं क्या लेता, क्या कर सकता हूँ, instead of focusing on which you cannot do. Learning क्या है इसमें? Learning is not a solution because I already know the problem and I have thought so many things about it. But impulsive decision अगर हमारे नहीं होने चाहिए, उसके लिए awareness होना जरूरी है. And when awareness comes, you always focus on the things which are in your control. Not in this particular case, I'm telling you. Most of the time we focus on the things which are beyond our control. So हमारे कंट्रोल में जो चीजें हैं उससे हम लोगों का भला कैसे कर सकते हैं, उसमें फोकस करना चाहिए, than which you cannot do, right? In this particular case, I said that if now if you see there are so many other things which has come to your mind, that boy has no done error, maybe there are a lot of other people who have died, and here I had no option. So what I will do? I have nothing to do. So पोस्टमार्टम हम करते हैं और उसमें बोलते हैं कि इस ट्रैक को कुछ और साइन बोर्ड लगाया जाए, कुछ अलार्म लगाया जाए, कुछ और चीजें कर लेते आफ्टर द इंसिडेंट्स. दैट इज आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट. मेनी टाइम्स एक एक्सीडेंट होने के बाद हम लोग करेक्टिव एक्शन भी नहीं लेते. सो दैट इज अ रॉन्ग डिसीजन. अगेन करेक्टिव एक्शन इज आल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ रिव्यू, है ना, रिव्यू ऑफ अ रॉन्ग डिसीजन.
Thank you, sir.
I hope I have answered to some extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, there is one question which is asked by Maitreya, and that is related to AG Perarivalan case. AG Perarivalan case. So, like he asked, so how can a possible solution be worked with regard to decision making in that case? Maitreya, you can talk. That AG Perarivalan case, are you aware about that? He has asked a specific case. It is related to judiciary, like it is pending with the judiciary. Maitreya, can you put a light on that?
थोड़ा बताएंगे तो.
Yeah, Maitreya. Okay, Maitreya is not there, I think. Anyway, we can leave that question because that is a case which is pending with the judiciary. So it's better that is not related to administration specifically.
Right.
Yeah. Any question by any student?
Sir,
Yeah, Sarvesh. Or you can
sir,
you can express yourself with respect to today's session. I am expecting your expression about today's session also. Yes, Sarvesh.
Sir, as being in such a higher position in the government, so sir, how do you face the media? Because many a times the decision you take, you have to prove it that it is right or wrong. For example, when the situation of riot takes place in a district, so when there sometimes there are instances of police firing, so sir, the police has to prove that why this decision is right. Even if it is right, they are blamed that it is a wrong decision. So sir, in this case, how do you face the media or
No,
your we can say superiors?
see, there are two different aspects of facing media and facing superiors. So facing superiors may be quite easy for that matter. Facing media may be difficult. But when you take a right decision, so you have very many reasons as to why we have done that. Because you are already, that's why I'm taking decision making is a very important subject for bureaucrat. And we must see all aspects of decision making. And if your decisions are the way I have told you that it is based on the compassion, is based on the right intention, and it is based on the community at large, welfare of the country or society or the stakeholders welfare mein hoga. So you have all the answers to give, and media is, it's all depends upon whether they're talking about the truth or not. If media is only for the purpose of publicity, then it has got a different meaning. So you need not worry about it. It will keep on happening. So many things will come into picture and paper also. But you should be worried about whether you are right or not. Because your decision making is based on the principles or not, values or not. And whatever I have talked today, it is on that or not. The way you facing media is easy otherwise. If you are deviating on any of these things, then possibly you have the front page पे आ जाएगा. Then you are worried. So front page पे आने से चिंता नहीं होना चाहिए, because you are taking right decision. It will come into front page, but you will be happy to answer that question. It's not bad.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sarvesh. एक क्वेश्चन इसमें कोई क्षितिज लिखे हुए हैं, क्षितिज आदित्य. You worked as an officer in recruitment part. So my question is there any political pressure when it comes to recruitment process? If yes, then how do you have control such situation? See, political pressure nowadays, because it is online examination and computerization has happened. So my post computerization online period, there are hardly any grievances which were coming. But earlier, grievances were coming, and there were certain, not political pressure, I will say, but there will be a representative of people who will talk to you. And they have, their job is to talk to you, maybe right things, because they will talk to you about selection of people who will approach to them, because they may be feeling that he may be, chairman may not be approachable to the student, and therefore he may not do justice with that student. So every time that situation will come, they will talk to you. So first thing is dealing with this kind of pressure is to talk nicely. Yes, you must talk very nicely. You should not be judgmental. That ke aisa hai, waisa hai, ye. But you are trained, of course, for that. So you should talk nicely. You must answer, because they are the representative of people. And when representative of people are talking to you, you must talk nicely. And without any bias, without any judgment, becoming judgmental. And then tell the facts. And first, without seeing, don't tell any facts. You say you will look into the matter. You have to see whatever the problem is given to you. You say you will see. Don't talk without seeing. मैं ऐसे अच्छा ही करता हूँ, मेरे यहाँ कुछ नहीं होता है. Sometimes we have habit of telling no sir, हमारे साथ ये जो बोल रहे हैं ऐसा तो हुआ ही नहीं, ऐसा तो होता ही नहीं सर, मैं तो ऐसा करता ही नहीं. ऐसा नहीं जवाब देना. आपको क्या देना है? Definitely sir, I will try to see and I will come back to you. जब भी I can see the fact, find out the fact. Thank you so much. It is brought to my notice. मैं अभी देख लूँगा उसको, and then I will definitely give you feedback. इस तरह से बोलना, जरूर उस चीजों को देखना. And then if you are right, you have taken right decision, then be calm, be happy, and tell whatever that is there. And normally RRB mein nothing is possible to be done post online examination. I can vouch for them, because I have been there for 2 years with online exam also. So prior to that, there were certain possibilities of having errors. I don't know. So that we have to see. Therefore, you are likely to make mistakes sometime. So you must try to, whenever somebody talks to you about a problem, the pressure, don't feel that is a political pressure. See that it is a pressure from a person who is not happy with the justice given to him. With that perspective, if you see, you will look for the solutions or you look into the problem. Otherwise, you will never look into the problem. You will have your own bias. कि मैं सही करता हूँ. और वैसा होता नहीं है. Every time you don't see the scene yourself. There are many people below you who help you to make a decision. So that makers putting up facts before you may be wrong. So that you have to see when complaints or grievances come. So, okay, Kshitij, I hope it's all right.
Yes, yes. So this is very practical approach, sir. Like, I have seen that many of the students, they have a fear about political pressure always because of this gossiping and because of this misconception that many of the students at the very infant stage, they are having this, they presume that there will be a political pressure in their future services. So through your answer, students must understand that there are constitution itself created our three wings: executive, judiciary, and legislature. So we are having political representatives like people's representative, and they are having their right to ask questions to you or to discuss with you. So there should not be this kind of misconceptions that there would be political pressures and that. And whatever sir has expressed, that you should talk to them with nicely and you should discuss them, whatever the situation. Okay, so that will help you to solve your problems. Anyway, now if anyone has questions, so last question you asked, Tejas Shinde is having some question. So he will ask and then we shall finish because already it's getting late and sir has given much time, enough time. Yeah. Tejas, whatever question you are having, you can ask.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Sir, how can you make the better coordination between technical and non-technical departments in Indian Railways, particularly in one of the busiest railway stations like Howrah and Mumbai?
What do you mean by technical and non-technical department?
Sir, Indian Railway means electrical engineers for means another department is there, and mechanical services is there, and the non-technical departments like personal services. And how can you make the coordination between them?
Okay, thank you, Tejas. Are you working with railways or something? No, you have some background.
No, sir. No, sir. I am means preparing for IAS,
Okay.
but I'm means very much familiar with Indian.
IAS, no? But anyway, your question is right. But railways have this old, actually, kind of this thing. Having a lot of departments specifically mint and expertise are taken for each of the wing. You know? Whereas many other departments, many other organizations have similar departments. You know? It is, if you take ONGC, if you take any PSU, if you take anything, everywhere all these departments are there. There are electrical engineer, there are mechanical engineer, there are HR people, there are materials manager, there are personnel manager, everybody is there. But railway takes all class 1 officers directly from UPSC for technical as well as non-technical job, and therefore these are more prominent. Railway being big organization, it is difficult to coordinate between the technical department than technical and non-technical department, because between the technical department coordination is more difficult as compared to technical and non-technical. I am telling because every non-technical department has got their specific job. Like, for example, personal department has got specific job of recruitment, promotion, cadre management. Everything is a typical job of a personal department. Same is true for accounts department. They have got their specific job. Not running the train directly, not running the train directly. They are not in the direct activity of running the train. Whereas technical departments are coordinating together for running a train. For training one train, there is electrical department, there is a mechanical department, there is a civil engineer, there is an operating department, and there are commercial departments which are coming in. Commercial, of course, not technical department, but electrical, mechanical, S&T, civil, everybody is working together, then only the train runs. So coordinating between them within the technical department is difficult. But all difficult tasks can become easy when you break down the task and make a process of doing the task, how to execute the job. So if there is a process, normally I am a strong follower or believer in the process. Actually, I always see every problem as trying to solve every problem through a process. If you any kind of problem in your life, go to one process of problem solving process will be there. Always there. If you go to the literature, there will be problem solving process. Like decision making process, I said, problem solving process will be there. So if you go to that process, problem will get solved. So they have defined a process. If running a train, who is responsible for that? Who will do what? Who will do what not? All those things are defined. And therefore train runs automatically. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So you have to set processes for individual department. It's easy. It's not difficult. But then there will be, if you have no character, then there will be blame games and all. You are responsible. You are responsible. You are responsible. And that thing happens, but there are managers and controls who are decision makers who say which is correct, which is wrong. Not difficult. It's easy. But good question, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Tejas, you must have got your
Yes,
answer.
sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir,
you
yes,
must
sir.
have got your answer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in the conclusion part of this session, so today on 22nd May 2022, you listen to Honorable Anil Ramteke sir, IRSS, presently working as Chief Material Manager, Western Railway, Mumbai. Very enthusiastically, a very plan and very constructively designed lecture he delivered in front of you people. And I'm very much sure that this will helpful to prepare you for all kinds of examinations. Specifically, the outcome of this lecture is that how one should be a compassionate officer, how one should be an ethical officer, how one should take decisions, okay, perfect decisions, proper decisions, which are based on the situations, which are based on the ethics, which are based on the utility of the society, like utilitarian decisions, or we can say the decision should be in a favor of good governance, okay, and ultimately good governor leads towards welfare state. So thank you very much, sir, from the bottom of my heart. And a question came in my mind that your lectures like should be organized for the officers of the different departments. These are those officers, these are future officers. But what I am thinking that I should, or like other organizations should organize your session specifically on this decision making and this good governance for the officers or the employees belong to the other departments also, because this is very useful and this is having practical approach. Because what I found personally, many of the people, they get selection into different departments through different examinations. Even they get training for that also, okay, how to handle the situations, how to work in the public interest. But many of the times they fail to do that. Okay, so that is a problem. So we need to like I'm thinking over that, and I will talk to you also. So thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your valuable time. And I'm sure that your lecture will definitely help my students of Sambodhi IAS Academy to be ethical officers and to work in a near future in the interest of the public of this country. Thank you very much. Have a nice day to all of you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I'll leave.